Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Company 119's The Coffee Cup. My name is Ryan Gilkerson. I'm lead creative here at Company 119, and I'm very glad that you could join us today. So what do Kanye West, Kaiser, Soze, Bob the Builder, and Google have in common? Well, they're all going to be used on today's coffee cup to talk about how to recover your SEO rankings after a website redesign. If you've ever redesigned your website, and you've tried to do it on your own especially, you might notice that shortly after there is an epic turnaround with your SEO results, and not in a good way. You fall off a cliff. If you look at your analytics notes, you'll see that your traffic's steadily building, and then there's a big drop off once you move everything over. Well, there's reasons for that, and there's also ways to avoid it, and that's what we're going to talk about today on the Coffee Cup. If virtual assistant John can bring up our first slide. There it is, recovering organic traffic after a web redesign. So basically, when you're looking at all of the things that can happen during a web redesign, it's pretty easy to explain what's going on, and it's actually a relatively easy fix as well. Let's go to the next slide. So Search Engine Land put out a great article on this that we really like. There's what you're looking for if you want to look it up online. Recovering SEO traffic and rankings after a website redesign. Really great resource. I like a lot of their stuff. Let's go to the next slide, Johnny. First thing you got to do is you got to get all your tools together, just like Bob the Builder setting out to do a project. Can we fix it? Of course we can, Bob. Here's what we're going to need to get the job done. You're going to want your Google Analytics account ready, Google Search Console. You're going to want to know the date of the launch. That's very important because you want to see if that's when the downward trend started. You want to know your website URL and historic URLs. Has it changed at all? And then also historic keyword rankings. You want to know where you've been along the way in certain key search terms. Let's go to the next slide. So your first thing you want to do is check for that drop in Google Analytics. Here's a path you can use to find. You want to go to Analytics, go to Acquisition, go to All Traffic and Channels. If organic traffic is the only channel to drop, you can rest assured it was probably your redesign that caused everything to go haywire. So what are some of the usual suspects that can cause that kind of a drop? Well, here we are, The Usual Suspects, one of my favorite movies. If you remember, this is kind of a play on the iconic line. The greatest trick Google ever played was convincing the world that your website didn't exist. That's directly from Usual Suspects. Kaiser, Soze. Don't hold me to that. So here's what can often happen. Maybe your redirects were wrong. Maybe you didn't have redirects in place. If you aren't telling people how to get to the new site, they can have trouble finding it. That can cause your traffic to drop. Are there pages missing? Did you have some pages that were ranking on your old site that aren't there anymore with your new site? Were there content changes? Did you try to change some things up that maybe weren't effective? Protocol and domain changes. Did you change things at the beginning or the end? Did you go from HTTP to HTTPS, for example, at the beginning? Did you change from a .com to a .org? Things like that that you're not paying attention to can cause people to not be able to find your site. Are there tech issues? Are you having some technical issues that are slowing down the site? Are there technical issues that are causing things to not load responsively? Are your times down? That can affect things. Did you have optimization that didn't carry over? Maybe you had titles and metas on the old site that didn't carry over to the new site. Maybe there were some things that you had put in place on the old site that you didn't take into account on the new site. You need to check for that. And then also, sometimes time does play a factor. Sometimes it just takes a little bit for everything to shake out. So these are all things that you want to look at. Pretty easy fixes. There's plugins to help you with redirects. Missing pages, you can go through Google Analytics and see what's different. These are things you can handle to get things taken care of to get your traffic back on pace. But let's go to the next one. Everything's in place. It looks okay. My rankings are still dropping. How, Sway? Thanks, Kanye. That's exactly what we're going to find out. You don't have the answers, Sway. Well, maybe we do. Is your analytics set up correctly? Maybe your Google Analytics is not set up correctly. You're not tracking everything the way that you need to. That could play an impact. Was there an algorithm change? Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's Google. Maybe they changed their mind a little bit on some things that used to have you ranking highly. Now you have to keep up with that change. Is there a seasonality issue at play? If you changed your site during your off season, for example, if you sell pools and you did a website change in February, maybe it's not the website change. Maybe people just aren't looking for you right now because you're not on their mind. Did the SERP pages change? Did you have some different things going on with paid advertising on the search results that changed it? Did the answer box change? There might be things that are going on those Google results pages that are causing you to not rank as highly. Did Google throw a flag? Did Google penalize you for something? Maybe there's something going on that you didn't realize Google didn't want you to do, and now you've gotten penalized for it. You need to check for those. And then also, there could be a security or hacking issue. You want to make sure to check your security online. Make sure that nobody's gotten into your account and adjusted things without you knowing about it. So, quick recap. When you change your site, when there is a redesign, a lot of times you can expect things to drop with your traffic. It happens. But that doesn't mean it's not avoidable. Use the tools that we set out there to find out exactly where the drop is coming from. You can track it right down to the exact day, the exact pages that are having problems, and then put these fixes in place to take care of it. It might take a little bit of time. You do have to give it some time, but eventually your traffic will go right back up to where it was or higher if you're just following what you need to do with all of the algorithms in place by Google, coupled with what you've done in the past to take care of your SEO rankings. So we hope that you've learned more about how to handle your site's redesign from SEO perspective before you've finished your first cup of coffee than your competition will all day. We appreciate you joining us.